Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lukenessmonster, and with the recent release of the brand new Farm Boy Luke here in 2025, I wanted to do a quick comparison video comparing this Luke Skywalker to some of the best Luke Skywalkers we've gotten in the past 5 years. Now, not every single Luke Skywalker we've gotten in the last 5 years is going to be a part of this video, because there's figures like this Power of the Force re-release, which is just horrendous, and it's not anywhere close to being one of the best releases. And so in this video, we're looking at the 4 best Luke Skywalker releases of the last 5 years, at least according to my opinion. On the far left, we have the 2023 Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. Next to him, we have the deluxe Luke and Yoda 2-pack from Dagobah, Empire Strikes Back. Next to him, of course, is that 2025 Farm Boy Luke. And on the far right, we do have the Snowspeeder Luke, also released in 2020. We're going to be comparing all of these figures based on a few different factors, being the articulation, the face and hair sculpts, and the accessories. First up, when it comes to accessories, this one is kind of a no-brainer just because we do have a deluxe Luke in this set. He did come with several swappable hands, a blaster, and of course a completely another figure in the box with that Yoda and the backpack. So yeah, this one by far wins when it comes to accessories. But of course it does come with a pretty hefty price. I believe this figure retailed for like $45 if I'm not mistaken, so correct me if I'm wrong. So you're definitely getting what you pay for when it comes to level of accessories, but it does come at that pretty hefty price. Next up for accessories, I think I would have to give it to the new Farm Boy Luke, just because he does come with, of course, a lightsaber like every other Luke does. But he also does come with the binoculars here on the belt, as well as this like removable pouch here on the belt. As you can see, it does come off and is removable. I guess that's technically an accessory, even though like it's not really an accessory. It technically is because the other ones don't have a removable pouch. So I do have to give some credit where credit is due. And then after that would have to go to the Return of the Jedi Luke, just because he does come with the swappable chest panel. So you can decide what style for Luke that you want from Return of the Jedi. Other than that, he only does come with the lightsaber. And then last would have to go to the Snowspeeder Luke, because he only does come with the lightsaber, no blaster or anything else. If you want to count the helmet as another accessory, I mean, I guess you could, but he's Snowspeeder Luke, he has to come with the helmet, so I wouldn't count the helmet as an accessory for this figure. Next up, we're going to be looking at face and hair sculpt, and one big thing for this one is that Snowspeeder Luke actually doesn't have any hair. He just has the kind of like helmet cap underneath, or head cap underneath for the helmet. So no hair on this one, but I gotta say the Mark Hamill likeness on the face, it's stunning. The Mark Hamill likeness is really dang good, and I'm genuinely upset that this one doesn't have any hair, because I think it has the best Mark Hamill likeness out of all 4 of these figures. Now debate me on it, because it is definitely a controversial pick when it comes to that, but in my personal opinion, I do think he has the best Mark Hamill likeness for the face, but just no hair to go with it. Up after that, I do think that the face and hair for Dagobah Luke is one of the best. Now, he does suffer from a little bit of this shiny face syndrome that a lot of figures in 2020 and 2021 suffered from, so that is kind of a downside of this figure, but I think the hair sculpt is amazing. He does have some really, really good hair, and I think the Mark Hamill likeness is great, but I'm not a huge fan of the shiny face syndrome, but in the scene, Dagobah Luke is like very sweaty, and so like he's one of the few figures where a shiny face syndrome kind of works, because he kind of has that sweaty look to him. So I kind of give it a pass for that, but at the end of the day, he's got a great Mark Hamill likeness. Third place, I'd have to give it to Return of the Jedi Luke. I think this one is a great likeness to Return of the Jedi, and I think the hair looks really good as well. There's not a whole lot I have to complain about this one, but I just think it's not quite there compared to the other 2. But it still definitely gets the job done, and I think it looks really good. Then, of course, in last place is Farm Boy Luke. This one was pretty obvious. The face, in my opinion, looks nothing like Mark Hamill. I think the face is pretty horrendous. I think the hair is nothing like Luke Skywalker's haircut in A New Hope. It's almost like flat and matted down too. In A New Hope, his hair's pretty poofy, and he just does not have that here. I'm not really sure what went wrong on this figure, but it's not great compared to the other ones here. And I gotta say, in my opinion, it's one of the worst Mark Hamill likenesses that we've gotten in a long time for the Black Series. As far as articulation goes, it's pretty much just a toss-up for these 4 figures. Some of these figures are more recent, like the 2025 Luke. Some of them are older, like the 2020 Snowspeeder and Dagobah Luke. And yet all of them have some pretty incredible modern articulation. They all have completely pinless looks. They all have butterfly joints. They all have really great articulation. I think the only thing that I could really dock for articulation is that they all have thigh cuts except for Farm Boy Luke. Farm Boy Luke does not have any thigh cuts when it comes to his legs here. He just has like the kind of extended hip motion that we've been getting in recent years. I know some people are really bothered by this. It doesn't bother me too much, but I know a lot of people are bothered by it. So if we're gonna go by articulation, I guess he would technically have the worst articulation when it comes to that, just because of the lack of thigh cuts. But honestly, I think he has some of the best range of motion when it comes to the arms and the butterfly joints. He can get into some of those two-handed poses flawlessly, where some of the other figures here struggle to get into it. So again, I would really say it's up in the air when it comes to articulation, but if you wanted to dock points for that, you would have to dock it from the Farm Boy Luke. And then last up here, we're gonna have to talk about paint apps. All four of these are pretty solid when it comes to paint apps. I think the two that have the least amount have to be Farm Boy and Return of the Jedi Luke, the two most recent ones I'll add. They do both have dark washes in their hair, but for the rest of their bodies, it's just kind of the solid plastic look. There's really no dark washes or a ton of paint on it. Obviously, Luke's belt does have a few paint apps on both figures, but as far as like the actual body goes, there's not a ton of paint on them. Next up would have to go to Snowspeeder Luke. Not a ton of paint on the actual like X-Wing pilot outfit, but there's tons of little paint details here and there when it comes to like the chest, the belt, the boots, everything about this. Like there's tons of little paint details on it, and there might be a dark wash on the suit, but I don't think so. But like I said, there is tons of little details here and there that really add that kind of paint app detail that you would like to see on a standard Black Series figure. So pretty happy with this one when it comes to paint apps. And then the figure with the most paint apps has to go to that deluxe Luke Skywalker. He has a dark wash all the way up and down the body, and you can really see like the mud and the weathering on his pants and on his shirt. I think this is great. Obviously he got all dirty and muddy from Dagobah, and so I'm really happy they added that dark wash all the way around the figure. He also does have a dark wash in the hair, so a lot more depth to the hair there. This one definitely is the best one when it comes to paint apps. So yeah, that was my kind of brief comparison of the 4 best Luke Skywalker releases in the past 5 years, in my personal opinion. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think there are any Luke Skywalkers that are better that I left out, kind of like the Mandalorian version of Luke? Or do you think that these are the 4 best? Let me know down in the comments, but I think that I kind of covered it here pretty well. Let me know what you guys think though, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.